The statistics alone command respect. Over 560,000 built between 1941 and 1945, more than any other tactical vehicle in history. This is the story of the GMC CQT-30 CQT-TW. The Jimmy to those who drove it, the deuce and a half to a generation of soldiers, a machine so essential to Allied victory that General Eisenhower ranked it among the 4 weapons that won the war, alongside the Jeep, the Dakota aircraft, and the landing craft. In late 1940, the U.S. Army issued an urgent requirement: a 2.5-ton, 6-wheel drive cargo truck capable of operating in any terrain, in any weather, anywhere in the world. General Motors answered with the CCKW, those cryptic letters simply denoting model year 1941, conventional cab, all-wheel drive, and dual rear axles. What emerged from GMC's Pontiac, Michigan plant was revolutionary in its simplicity: a 270 cubic inch inline-6 engine, producing 104 horsepower, a 5-speed transmission with a 2-speed transfer case, a ladder frame chassis built to flex over rough terrain without braking, and crucially, a 6x6 wheel configuration that could power through mud that swallowed lesser vehicles whole. Private First Class Robert Capa, driving with the Red Ball Express in August 1944, described it perfectly. That truck would go through hell and come out the other side asking for more. We'd load her with 8 tons, way over spec, and she'd just squat down and keep rolling. 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, nothing stopped those Jimmies. The Red Ball Express itself became legendary, a lifeline of nearly 6,000 trucks, 75% of them CCKWs, racing supplies from the Normandy beaches to Patton's charging Third Army. In 82 days, they moved over 400,000 tons of supplies, burning through tires so fast that Michelin's entire production went to keeping them rolling. The truck's true genius lay not in any single innovation, but in its absolute reliability. That GMC engine, derived from their commercial truck line, had been proven in millions of civilian miles before the first CCKW rolled off the line. Drivers could repair it with basic tools. Parts were interchangeable. The electrical system was waterproof to ford rivers. The open cab meant quick exits under fire, while the fold-down windshield prevented reflection that might attract enemy aircraft. In the Pacific, Marines discovered the CCKW lines. TCW could traverse coral beaches that stopped everything else. On Iwo Jima, these trucks hauled ammunition up volcanic ash slopes so steep that crews had to winch them forward yard by yard. In Italy, CCKWs negotiated mountain roads where a 6-inch error meant a 1,000-foot drop. During the Battle of the Bulge, they ran continuously in temperatures of -20 degrees, their drivers stuffing newspapers into their boots to prevent frostbite while keeping critical supplies flowing to surrounded units. Technical Sergeant Joe Sawyer, Quartermaster Corps, remembered the Italian campaign. We had one CCKW that took a direct hit from an 88 shell through the hood. Blew the engine clean apart. We dropped in a new engine block, hooked up the hoses, and had her running again in 4 hours. Try that with any modern vehicle. This wasn't unusual. The trucks were designed for battlefield maintenance. Every component could be accessed easily. Nothing required special tools. A squad of mechanics could rebuild one practically blindfolded. The variants tell their own story of adaptability. The standard cargo model gave birth to over 20 specialized versions. Dump trucks cleared rubble in bombed cities. Tankers hauled 2,500 gallons of aviation fuel to forward airfields. The famous DuKW amphibious variant, essentially a CCKW wrapped in a boat hull, carried 30% of all supplies during the Normandy invasion, swimming from ship to shore and then driving inland without pause. Mobile surgical hospitals saved countless lives. Operating tables bolted directly to CCKW chassis. Radio trucks coordinated entire army groups. Searchlight trucks turned night into day for anti-aircraft gunners. But perhaps the most telling statistic is this. Of those 560,000 trucks built, an estimated 150,000 were still in service worldwide as late as the 1990s. In the Korean War, CCKWs that had survived World War II hauled supplies up the frozen roads from Busan. French forces used them in Indochina. The Israeli army ran them in the 1948 war and kept them through the Six-Day War. Pakistani and Indian armies faced each other with CCKWs on both sides during their conflicts. Master Sergeant William Bradley, who drove CCKWs from Normandy to the Elbe, put it simply. People talk about the Sherman tanks and the P-51 fighters, but let me tell you something. Without the Jimmy, none of them would have had fuel, ammunition, or food. We weren't glamorous. Nobody made movies about truck drivers. But every single thing that won that war, from bullets to bandages to hot chow, moved on a CCKW. That truck didn't just help win the war. It made winning possible. Today, restored CCKWs appear at military vehicle shows. Their distinctive blunt nose and tall stance immediately recognizable to veterans who rode in them 70 years ago. The sound of that GMC engine, a deep, steady rumble, still makes old soldiers stop and remember. They remember the bone-jarring rides over shell-torn roads, the endless convoys stretching to the horizon, the weight of responsibility, knowing that if they didn't get through, men would die. The CCKW succeeded because it embodied the American approach to war. Build something simple, build it in overwhelming numbers, and make it work every single time. No frills, no complexity, just pure mechanical determination. In the arithmetic of global warfare, where logistics determined victory, the CCKW was the crucial multiplier. It turned American industrial might into battlefield dominance, one load at a time, 1 mile at a time, until the war was won. As General Lucius Clay observed after the war, the Jeep got the glory, but the CCKW did the work. In the end, that's perhaps the most fitting tribute to this remarkable machine. Not that it was the most advanced or the most powerful, but that when history demanded the impossible, over 500,000 CCKWs answered the call, and they delivered.